Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Land Stories Live. I have the pleasure of having a guest here with me, Geron. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing great, David. How are you?
Good, good. We were just sharing pre-chat about how you're from northern northeast Texas, and my folks live out there, and just how real estate is just booming, huh? And you're crazy busy.
Oh, yes, sir. Yep, I'm a professional home inspector here in the DFW Metro. I also do commercial property inspections. Real estate market is crazy right now, so we're super busy. That's a good thing. Me myself, I live in McKinney. It's in the north part of the Metroplex for Dallas Fort Worth. I've been in that area for about 20 years. Being a guy who's interested in investing in real estate, I've had several different properties along the way, but I pretty much from my home base, I'm going to stay where I'm at. I just love the area, the diversification, tons of different things to do, easy access for travel.
Yeah.
Uh, really feel like it's where I belong.
The traffic in Dallas, though, it's gotten bad. That whole area,
Yeah,
man. So many
yeah,
people.
it's pretty bad. Yeah, I had a 71-mile drive across the metro for my first appointment this morning,
Oh,
and I hit some snags, but it wasn't too bad. If you leave just super early, and just try to stay away from the rush hours, you can manage. I get out and walk and run a lot throughout the day, so if I know I'm going to be traveling during a time for traffic, I'll leave it a little bit early, go hit a park and get a nice walk in or a jog, and then do my work and just kind of navigate my day that way.
better than desk job, just get
That's
get
right.
get up and around. So tell me, did you grow up like in Dallas area, or where are you from?
I was born in Paris, Texas, but I grew up in southern Oklahoma. And then as soon as I became an adult, I moved back to Texas.
Well, and having, the real estate background you do now was, land, real estate, something you kind of grew up with? Was your folks into real estate, or how'd you get into it?
Well, my folks raised me, and they still live out. Actually, it's a pretty interesting story on in Oklahoma, what's called the original Indian allotment land
Hmm.
from back when Oklahoma became a state from an Indian territory. If you were registered as a tribal member on the Dawes Roll, which we are as Choctaw, then they gave the families 240 acres apiece. So,
Wow.
yep, where I grew up and where my parents still live, they have about 65 acres right there.
Hmm.
So I grew up managing that with them, with cattle and horses. Uh, but how I got into it myself was once I got into college and started my own career, I was working extra and saving money. Talked to a person that I felt like would give me good advice on what to do with the extra money I had. And he said, go out and start buying some property. So that's what I've been doing. Been through a few houses that I've rented out, a few different pieces of raw land, a few houses that I've lived in and kind of made some improvements on, and then did well on upon selling them. So right now I'm kind of starting that whole process over by getting the property there in Colorado with you. Actually been looking for something there for quite a while, and real happy so far with what I've found in the transaction that we've had.
I love it. So, um, many people that work with us, Garen, they've never bought real estate before. And obviously, you have a lot
Okay.
of experience. And certainly, land's a great way to get started because it's not as expensive as a house. Do you have just any general pieces of advice for someone that's just getting into real estate for their first time?
Um, I do really, I go for properties that have something specifically unique about them. Some advice that I've carried along with me for houses anyway is get somewhere with a good view. That's a big reason why I bought the property I did with you there in Colorado in Fort Garland. You can make improvements to properties. You can take them the way they are, but one thing that is most of the time not going to change is the view you have. So there's some things that are important to me about that. Different people have different perspectives there, but whatever type of view and kind of vibe that you want to have at the property, that's going to be important if it's something that you're going to keep for a while yourself. Also, it feels like that can help you put a little bit more heart into it if you're going to make improvements and sell it, and you can kind of use that as a focal point for your marketing later on with the property.
I love it. Great advice. Great advice. I think, like you said, right? I mean, I think about lakefront property. Well, there's only so many of them, which is why they're often so expensive. You know,
Right,
you
exactly.
you can't exactly build the lake. I suppose you could, but it would take a lot more money than most of us would have. You know, you can't buy a
Yep,
mountain. You know, like I suppose you could, but it's a lot more money than most of us would have. So
yep,
I think
exactly right.
that's great advice, in terms of views and location and things to think about. And I'm curious, you
Yep.
said you were looking for property for a while. What
Hmm.
brought you to this one? Tell us about that journey of getting to this property.
Yeah, sure. Well, I had some life circumstances that were kind of holding me back from being able to pull the trigger on buying a property. But the way I live my life is most of the time things happen for a reason. And as I was watching for property that was available in the area there where I bought it, um, I never was really happy with the parcels that I saw that were for sale, uh, either too flat or not the view that I wanted, not the size that I wanted. Maybe the price point was a little bit off. So it was just like a culmination of things that came together with me being in a spot in my life that I was ready to pull the trigger on a property. And then once I saw your post with that land parcel for sale, there was no hesitation really from me because of the experience that I've had with property. I felt comfortable with the process, and I knew it was exactly what I wanted. With the things I were looking for were a little bit more elevation for the view. I wanted some steeper terrain, uh, kind of to help me stay secluded with the grading challenges that I'm going to have on that property. That's going to keep a lot of people that are investing in property out of that area. I feel like more so than a flat grade. Um, so having a little bit more secluded property and having the potential for the $1 million view that I'm going to have there,
Mhm.
along with the correct price point and me being ready and having my ducks in a row, that just made everything come together. It felt like.
Well, I think it's so interesting how where some people see a problem, other people see an opportunity. And
Right.
and that's what I'm hearing from you. And certainly you acknowledge, maybe this isn't like the perfect property, the flattest, most easy to build on type thing, but with some sweat equity into it, some blood, sweat, and tears you put into it, it sounds like you're going to improve it and make it way better than it was ahead of time. And you see
Oh,
the
absolutely.
opportunity.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I've been actually uh, building in my sleep a little bit, dreaming about the trails I'm going to cut in and the different retaining walls and different features I can make out of the property. Kind of like a diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for with this one. It's not always that way with me. I don't know if I've mentioned since we've been recording, I am a property inspector, do personal property and commercial property. So I'm in and out of tons of different places all day, every week. So I just, take little notes on things that I see with design, architecture,
Mhm.
location, uh, landscaping, anything that stands out. I take little notes and then try to keep a good reminder and a good file for myself for things I can put into place with properties that I have later on down the line.
Well, what I love about that, and what's so cool about Forbes Park and that area, is there's definitely this very homey, cabiny feel to it. You're in the woods, you're off in the wilderness. There's BLM land all around.
Hmm.
There's just like two Airbnbs out of 2,000 or 3,000 lots out there. I stayed in one of them, and it was like eerily quiet being out
Right.
there. You really are out in nature, and which is fun. And as a matter of fact, you still have some of the conveniences on a lot of those lots. You have electricity. The Airbnb I stayed at had internet on it. It wasn't great internet, but it was still internet that you could use. And out there you get the deer and the elk, and
Hmm.
they're taking
Black
some of the,
bears.
yeah, right, yeah, the bears, and there's definitely mountain lions and that kind of stuff out there. um, what about this area, around Costilla County, Forbes Park? What do you like about it?
Well, I first started coming up to that general area about 20 years ago with some family. Never been before. That was my first trip to Colorado. And over by Cachara there in Huerfano County with neighbors, Costilla County, we stayed at a place called Yellow Pine Ranch there. Had a great time. I had been back with different groups of family and by myself. I've lost count of how many times since then throughout the years. What I found out was I really like to hike. I really like to summit the peaks. So I've been, up to the top of Trinchera a couple of times. I did West Spanish Peak last year, and I'm probably going to do that one again this year.
Nice.
Blanca is right there at over 14,000, so that's on my checklist to knock off. So I look forward all year long to getting up to that area in the summertime and hiking in the mountains. When I'm here in Dallas on flatland, I'm out getting my 5 miles a day in some months, getting my 10 miles a day in for some months. I have different goals that I set. uh, I can't get altitude training here, so I have to go for distance. So I have some pretty long runs. I did a 17-mile run last weekend, getting ready to come up because I'm coming up there in June. So my my lifestyle here has kind of turned into training for when I come up to Colorado in the summertime to get acclimated.
I love it. Well, by the time you get back, right, your breathing is going to be awesome because
Oh
you
yeah,
you get used to that higher altitude. You get back to Dallas in a low altitude, and you'll be a rock star running around by then.
yeah, absolutely. And I get a break from the heat because it'll be in the 100s here when I leave to come
Yeah,
up there, and there'll be some nights while I'm camping up there that it'll get down in the 30s.
it'll feel good, all refreshing and clean, clear air.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, the smell of the trees up there, the clean air, the sky view you have at night. I mean, just everything about it in that area with the dike walls that come protruding out. It's just majestic everywhere you go. I mean, the
Mhm.
wildlife, the people are super friendly. It seems to be laid back. It's not overpopulated like in the Denver area. I mean, I'm pretty cool with most of Colorado, but with uh, that area right there by Fort Garland being a closer drive for me, or I can just fly out of DFW here up to Pueblo if I want to make a quick visit. It makes
Mhm.
it pretty accessible for me.
Absolutely. So I'm curious to know, you saw the property, you said, I think it was on Land Watch or Lands of
Yep.
America. And you said, oh man, this looks great. So what happened after that point? When you said, oh, this looks like a great property. I think I'd like to have it. Tell me about what happened after that.
Well, after that, that was pretty early in the morning, and I just sent an email saying, "Hey, I see this property that you have. I want to let you know I'm going to make a serious inquiry about it when you're available." And I got a response back from your colleague Christy almost immediately, 7 o'clock in the morning. So we just went ahead and got on the phone right then and talked about it. She said that she could send me all the information she had to let me determine whether or not I wanted to go ahead and fulfill the contract. And I said, you know what, just go ahead and send the contract now. I see that you do have a right of rescission in there for, I believe it was 90 days or whatever. And if I see anything that causes me to have alarm bells go off, I can redirect. But I mean, I think we had a contract the same day, maybe even in the morning, early afternoon on the property from the time I first saw it. So, you know, being prepared and knowing what I was looking for and not having any hesitation, just having a good feeling about it. Made it real easy on my end, and then you guys were extremely knowledgeable and easy to deal with on your end. Uh, I could, say only good things about the process so far, and I have already, and will definitely recommend doing business with you guys to people that I know.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Geron. Appreciate that. And
Hmm.
if someone did ask you, hey, I saw you got this property, tell me about these guys. What would you say to someone that asked you about us?
I would say that the main the main thing for me is just the positive energy from you guys. You're excited. You can tell that you're passionate about what you do. You can do transactional business with tons of different people. We all do different transactions throughout our day every day, but getting a good reciprocity of positive energy with someone that you're doing a transaction with just makes the difference for me. And that's what I would say if someone asked me.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I appreciate that, Geron. And as we wrap up, just any other thoughts or questions that you have for me, to go over or anything like that.
Well, I don't have much about your story. How long have you been working in generational family properties?
Yeah, so I founded the company in October of 2017. So we're going
Okay.
on about 4 years now, and been a crazy journey. Going through COVID and everything last year, and I've never seen. There's been such dynamic changes in
Hmm.
the land market in that time period. I founded this company because my folks had done well in real estate on the West Coast for a long time. And I decided for myself, I had helped to manage one of their properties in college. And it was such a pain dealing with tenants and dealing with issues. And I just hated it. And when I came across land and helping people with land, I said, "Oh, this is amazing. It's just like renting, but I don't have to deal with the toilets and the termites and all that kind of
Yep.
stuff."
I've done
And
plenty of that too.
on top of that, I think what's so neat about what we're able to do is to help people out that wouldn't normally be able to get financing. So that really is so awesome to talk with people like yourself that, hey, I don't have the cash right now. I think I'm able to pay it off in a year or two. But
Right.
can you help me out for a little bit? And thank goodness we're in a position to be able to do that. So it's been wonderful, from both those ends. Personally, to follow my parents' footsteps, but in a totally different way. They never did land. It was all single family
Yeah.
homes.
And that's the positive energy I'm talking about right there.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Anything else you have on your mind, Geron?
Well, I think that's it. I'm gonna probably the way our business is right now, things are booming, and like you said, I'm looking at paying the paying the land off pretty early. So I'll collapse time frames as much as I can, and I'm keeping an eye out on your other properties because there's a couple of different locations that I want to go ahead and get started when it's time for that are not in Colorado. And you're definitely my go-to my go-to guy for that now.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Geron. Thank you for hopping on, man. Pleasure getting to know you.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Looking forward to talking to you again soon.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Take care.
All right. Thanks, David.